Welcome to Magical Stories for Kids. The Little Match Girl. It was bitterly cold. Snow was falling, and night was drawing near. It was the very last evening of the year, New Year's Eve. In the midst of this freezing darkness, a poor little girl walked down the street. Her head was bare, and her feet were naked. True, she had once had slippers when she left home, but they were too big, slippers that her mother had worn before. They slipped from her feet as she hurried across the road, and she lost them. One was gone forever. The other was snatched by a boy, who laughed and ran away, saying he would use it as a cradle for his future child. Now the poor child walked barefoot. Her tiny feet were red and blue with cold. In her old apron, she carried a bundle of matches, and in her little hands, she held one packet tightly. No one had bought anything from her all day. Not a single coin. Hungry, frozen, and hopeless, she wandered on. Snowflakes fell into her long golden hair, which curled so beautifully around her neck. But she did not think of her beauty. All around her, the windows glowed with warm light. Delicious smells of roasted meat drifted into the street. It was New Year's Eve, that was what she thought about. She crouched down in a corner, between two houses. The cold grew sharper and sharper, but she did not dare return home. She had sold no matches, earned no money. Her father would beat her. And besides, at home it was cold too, for they lived under the roof, where the wind whistled through, even though the cracks had been stuffed with straw and rags. Her poor little hands were almost stiff with cold. Oh! If only she could light just one match, to warm herself for a moment. She pulled one out and struck it against the wall. FSSST! What a spark! What a flame! It burned brightly, warm and golden. It seemed to her as if she were sitting before a great iron stove with shining brass knobs. The fire blazed and gave such comfort. She stretched out her feet to warm them. But the match went out, and the stove vanished. She lit a second match. This time, the wall became transparent. She saw into a bright room. A table was laid with a white cloth, fine china, and on it, oh, wonder of wonders, a roast goose, stuffed with prunes and apples, steaming with fragrance. Suddenly, the goose leapt from the dish and waddled across the floor, knife and fork still in its back, straight towards her. But then, the match went out. She saw only the cold, hard wall. She lit a third match. Now she sat beneath a splendid Christmas tree. Larger and more beautifully decorated than the one she had seen last year in the rich merchant's house. Thousands of candles gleamed on its green branches. Bright pictures like those from shop windows looked down at her. She reached out her hands, but the match went out. The candles rose higher, higher, until they became stars in the sky. One star fell, leaving a bright streak of fire. "Someone has just died," whispered the little girl. For her grandmother, her only friend, who was now gone, had told her, when a star falls, a soul rises to God. She struck another match. And in the blaze stood her grandmother, so gentle, so shining, so full of love. "Grandmother," cried the little girl, "take me with you. When the match goes out, you will vanish, like the warm stove, the roast goose, the Christmas tree. Don't leave me." She quickly lit the whole bundle of matches. A light brighter than day surrounded her. Her grandmother took her in her arms, and together they rose in glory, higher, higher, where there was no cold, no hunger, no pain, only joy in the presence of God. But in the gray morning light, in the corner of the street, sat the poor little girl. Her cheeks red, her lips smiling, frozen to death on the last night of the year. Beside her lay the burnt matches. She must have tried to warm herself, people said. But no one knew what she had seen. No one knew how she had entered the new year, in joy, in splendor, with her beloved grandmother.
And that's the end of our story. So kids, what did you understand from this tale? What lesson did you learn? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to come back for another magical adventure with magical stories for kids.